was gonna say, okay, folks, I think we're just about ready to get going here.
And yes, Rick, it is live streaming now.
Thank you. Technically we got 1 minute. We have one more member of the committee to join us if he can, but we also do have quorum. So I'll give it another minute or so and then we'll get going. All right then. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this Committee of Adjustment meeting for Tuesday, January the 4th. It is now 6 p.m. And first off, I would say Happy New Year to all in attendance, all staff, and all the audience members. We appreciate you being here. Welcome to our first meeting of any kind in this new year 2022. This is an electronic meeting, and as such, if there are any interruptions to the meeting, interruptions to the member's connection, we will pause briefly to allow the member to attempt to reconnect, but as long as we maintain quorum, after a few minutes we will continue with the meeting. I would also remind everyone that as this is a virtual meeting, the municipal conflict of interest, rules of procedure, code of conduct, etc., and all the pertinent legislation apply to these proceedings as if they were an in-person meeting. At this time, we move to the agenda, and I would note that the first item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda for today's meeting. From staff, are there any edits or adjustments to the proposed agenda? Hearing.
No, there is none.
Okay, thank you. From the committee then, could I get a motion to approve the agenda as is? I'll take Mr. Buderek, seconded by Ms. Parks. Thank you. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we go to the approval of the Committee of Adjustment minutes from December the 6th. We have those minutes before us. Are there any noted errors or omissions? Seeing none, could I get a motion to approve those minutes? I'll take Mr. Hagedorn, seconded by Mr. Gordon. Thank you. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried, which brings us to our public meeting for this evening. There is only one, that is D13-010-2021 regarding 1035 Fred Brown Road. And I believe we have a staff member here to make a presentation with regards to this application. Welcome, Ms. Furness.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an application for permission to expand a legal non-conforming use located at 1035 Fred Brown Road. So the existing structure on the property is a clubhouse that's used by the Kingston Radio Control Modelers Flying Club. And the current zoning bylaw does not permit the use. However, the previous zoning bylaw that was in time when the clubhouse was constructed, it had been permitted at that time, and it has continued since then. So we do deem it as a legal non-conforming use. And so the applicant is seeking approval for a 79.7 square meter addition onto the clubhouse, which requires permission under the Planning Act by the Committee of Adjustment to enlarge the use. An application for permission is not subject to the same test that a minor variance application is. However, the intent remains the same, particularly in terms of meeting the overall intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw and being a compatible use of the land. In terms of the provincial policy statement, there's policies that permit other rural land uses and also encourage opportunities to support a diversified rural economy. So staff are of the opinion that the application for permission is consistent with the intent of the uses permitted in the provincial policy statement. And the county's official plan designates the property rural, and the township's official plan designates the property rural as well, with an environmental sensitive overlay due to an area of natural scientific interest on the property. The rural designation permits private recreational uses, and the official plan also provides some criteria for the Committee of Adjustment to review these types of applications. The criteria primarily consists of the enlargement not causing any conflicts, being of an appropriate size, considering impacts on traffic, noise, dust, odors, and lighting on the property and on adjacent properties. And overall, the big test sort of being that the neighboring uses are going to be protected. This particular site is significantly buffered by woodlands, and we're not anticipating it to result in any nuisance impacts to any of the neighboring properties. The Conservation Authority reviewed the application as well due to the area of natural scientific interest on site. And because the clubhouse has a buffer of more than 50 meters from this, the Conservation Authority was satisfied and supports the application. Overall, the use is considered compatible on the property and surrounding area, and staff are the opinion that it meets the intent of the official plan. And in terms of the zoning bylaw, the property is zoned rural and environmental protection. As previously mentioned, the clubhouse is a legal non-conforming use. The enlargement of the use is not anticipated to have any negative impacts on natural heritage features or the adjacent property. Aside from being significantly buffered by trees, the clubhouse is also approximately 400 meters from Fred Brown Road. And the request for permission does not exceed any existing land boundaries and does not require additional services to operate. So therefore, staff are the opinion that the request for permission meets the intent of the zoning bylaw and is appropriate use of the land. And we're therefore recommending approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. And committee, do we have any questions with regard to this application? I'm seeing no questions at this time. This is a public meeting. At this time, I will ask any member of the audience for or against who wishes to speak with regard to this application that they would come forward, preferably using the raised hand tool if that's functional for them in order to speak to the application. I do understand that the applicant is in the audience and may wish to speak to this as well. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to the application? And anyone? I'm not seeing anyone, or is the clerk or any staff seeing anything?
I'm not, Your Worship.
Okay. I will put that on pause for a moment and come back to the committee to see if there are any comments with regard to the application before I look for, I'll say, final access to see if there's any public comment or a motion. Any comments from anyone? Any concerns? I'm seeing none. And final call to public attendees. I'm seeing none. Then I'll ask the committee to, is there someone willing to put forward a motion? And Mr. Hagedorn, go ahead.
Move to receive and adopt the recommendation.
Motion to receive and adopt the recommendation. Do I have a seconder for that? I'll go with Mr. Buderick. Thank you. Any comments from the mover?
No concerns or issues.
Been on the property a few times myself and no, pretty copacetic. Any other comments? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Which brings that is the only public meeting for this Committee of Adjustment meeting. There are no other decisions or other business. Our next scheduled Committee of Adjustment meeting is for February the 7th. Unless there's anything further from staff, I would look for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Buderick, seconded by Mr. Gordon. Thank you. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Motion is carried. We are adjourned. At this time, council, we will be moving to a special meeting of council under a different Zoom link. So we will give staff a few moments to get that set up, and then we will move into that. So thank you all, and I'll see all the attendance members, all the audience members, and I'll say thank you for your attendance, and for the members of the committee, I'll see you in a few moments. Thank you.